welcome to another writing vlog. This is going to be a cozy vlog, sort of fall themed, because the weather is definitely getting colder and I am not turning on my heat until I absolutely need to, so I need to stay warm and I need to stay cozy. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie and I am writing my very first book, and currently I am in the middle of draft 3, specifically chapter 10 of draft 3. And what I've been doing on this draft is rewriting basically my chapters from draft 2. And I'm at this stage where I have been doing a lot of copying and pasting and moving things around. And I'm finally getting out of that portion of the book. And I'm moving back into a portion of a book where it is much more obvious what needs to happen when. And the sequence of events I have planned makes a lot of sense. And there's not going to be much opportunity to move things around anymore. So I think the path forward on the book is a little more clear. It definitely was a struggle to get through chapters like 5 through 9. I was cutting and pasting so many pieces of chapters and putting them together, but now I'm on chapter 10. I'm basically at a part where it's very clear what's going forward, and I think my writing of draft 2 will go a lot more quickly. It is the early afternoon and I'm going to start writing. I unfortunately was not able to write this morning because I had errands I needed to run, but now I have the afternoon to write and the evening. And for dinner, I am going to make potato soup, a nice little fall themed soup. And I'm very excited about potato soup. It's one of my favorite soups. And I'm basically just gonna get started on chapter 10. Like I said, I'm sort of like in the middle of it, so I'm just gonna pick up where I left off. And how I'm working on draft 3 is I rewrite a chapter and then I go back and reread the chapter and make any adjustments that I need to. So I'm still on that first pass of chapter 10. But hopefully by tonight, I will move into the second pass. Maybe I could even finish chapter 10 today. That would be really amazing. Although I do know I have a habit of overestimating the amount of work I can do. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a bunch of fall and cozy foods and writing cozily in my couch under many blankets, probably bundled up. I have a sweater on right now. I might need to break out my fingerless gloves for typing, who knows? But it'll be a fun weekend and I'm really excited to start writing. Hello, I'm coming to you from the couch because I am getting really cold and I don't want to get out from my comfortable and warm blanket. This blanket is in so many videos and I made this myself. Fun fact, I made this entirely myself. I crocheted it and it was many, many years ago. It's not a hobby that I still do, but it is a very warm blanket and I love it. So anyway, writing went really well today. I do want to clarify, I think earlier I said I was on chapter 10. No, I'm actually on chapter 9. These last 5 chapters have been such a jumble that I obviously cannot remember what chapter I'm on. But I'm on chapter 9 and it is still the same chapter that it was supposed to be. I just lost count of where I was. I am almost done with chapter 9. I didn't finish it. I had a really difficult time today. Even though I said my writing went well, I still struggled. What the struggle was today was I am writing this scene where there's a lot of action. And when there's a lot of action, I have problems figuring out everything I need to say because there's multiple people in the chapter and multiple things, and you have to do expressions of different people, and and then you have to also talk about movement in terms of where is the character in this particular moment, and then how do they move across the room or the area. And it's just a lot of stuff, and I have problems, first of all, knowing what to say. Then once I know what I want to say, a lot of times it's trying to figure out what order to put things in. You're talking about in like 1 second, you're trying to describe how the character is feeling, what they are seeing, what is happening to them, and other things. And it's just trying to capture these small moments by describing a bunch of things, but then trying not to at the same time be too descriptive. I do struggle with these really big action scenes because it's a lot for me to write. But other than that, I did really well. My word count today was 1,300. That was really good. I still was doing a lot of deleting old things and rewriting new things. The scenes I was writing today were kind of like, I kept the scenes, like the characters and who was in the scene, and the general what was going on, but I kind of changed like the time of day and some of the environment and some of the events. And so it was mostly a rewrite. I did recycle some dialogue and a little bit of action, but for the most part, it was a complete rewrite. I also did reach 20,000 words, which is really exciting. I'm officially 20% of the way done with my book. I'm writing an adult fantasy novel, and typically these are around 100,000 words. So when I say I hit 20,000 words, that's 20% of 100,000 words. That's where the 20% comes from. It is getting late. I need to get ready for bed. My tummy is full from my potato soup, which was really good. And I have to do dishes because now I have tons of dishes from cooking. And I want to get an early start with writing tomorrow. I have recently started writing earlier in the mornings, and I really enjoy it. And I think tomorrow will be nice because it'll be a little bit chilly. I can curl up on the couch with my blanket again, have some breakfast, and start writing. So I will see you tomorrow. Good afternoon. I had a very productive morning with writing, and I am so happy about it. I wrote over 1,000 words this morning, and typically I'm writing like 1,000 words in a day. And so 1,000 words in just a few hours in the morning was really great. I did wake up early. I just happened to. It wasn't on purpose. And that gave me a little bit of extra time this morning, and I was just really in the zone. I am still on chapter 9. This has become an incredibly lengthy chapter, and the reason this happened is because in draft 2, this is actually chapters 9 and 10, and I'm condensing these into one chapter. I didn't think it would be as long as it is, but it is. There are some possible solutions to this. There is a short scene in the beginning that I could cut. I could divide this into 2 chapters later, but for right now, I'm going to keep it as one giant chapter. And I don't even know how many words it is yet because I haven't finished. But the reason I want to keep it one chapter for now is because it is quite a lengthy scene that goes for quite a significant amount of time, but it's a very pivotal scene for my character. And I don't want to shortchange any development or information that my character needs in this chapter or the reader. I would rather get everything I want out now, and then if I have to cut things or change things later, I can. This isn't a fluff chapter or something where I can just be like, oh, I'll just get rid of it, or, I can tweak this. This is a very, very important chapter, and I don't want to mess it up or leave something out that should be in there. So I'm very happy for now writing a giant chapter and kind of fixing it later when I do draft 4. I did manage to write a little bit this afternoon. I had intended to record right after lunch, but I threw some laundry in, and the laundry machine is right there, and you wouldn't have been able to hear me over the noise. So I decided to wait until my laundry was done, hence it's later in the afternoon. I'm actually gonna go for a walk right now. It's the late afternoon, it's the hottest it's gonna be, which isn't very hot, and I wanna see some fall foliage. It's so beautiful. There's this tree right outside my window that is bright yellow, and I love looking at it, and I wanna see more trees. I live in the city, so I'm not sure how many trees I'm gonna see, but I'm gonna try. And then I'm going to work on my book some more. I'm gonna make cookies tonight because I am out of chocolate chip cookie dough, so that needs to be corrected. And I'm gonna keep writing, and there's a Hallmark movie on tonight. Hallmark has started their Christmas movies. I love Hallmark Christmas movies. I definitely will be watching that tonight. It will cut into my writing time, but that's okay because I love Hallmark Christmas movies. I'm gonna go ahead and go on my walk. It's gonna take me quite a bit of time to get where I wanna go. And I will catch back up with you later tonight, either after the movie or after I write. I finished chapter 9. I am so excited because this was a monster chapter. I ended this chapter with 4,400 words. This is the longest chapter I have written in draft 3, and it is longer by almost 1,000 words than any other chapter in this draft. Is this desirable? No, but this is what happened. I'm just really glad to be done with this chapter because I have been working on it for 3 days, I think. And that's a really long time for me to work on a chapter, especially when I've been writing and working on it all day. But because it was 4,400 words, that explains why it took me so long to write. I also had a really productive day today. Because this chapter was super long, meant I wrote a ton of words. My word count for the day was 2,600 words. That is my personal best for draft 3. It is my best by 1,000 words. So this is by far the best day I've had while writing this draft, and I've been writing it for almost a month now. I do want to put a little disclaimer on this, although I was very productive today. My word counts are not how many words I wrote in a day for draft 3. My word counts are where did I start when I picked my computer up this morning, where did I start in the story, and then wherever I ended in the story when I was about to shut my laptop. That is how many words I've written today. This does not account for the fact that I've rewritten entire paragraphs. This does not account for the fact that I've deleted paragraphs. This word count per day is not an accurate representation of what I've written because I am doing so much deleting and rewriting and organizing and reorganizing all the sentences and moving things around that it's almost like there's no way in Word really to track how many words I'm writing a day because I'm doing all this deleting and adding and editing and all this stuff. Really what my word count is a tracking of the progression of my word count through this draft and to make sure I stay on track through this story. Right now I'm at 23,000 words total, which means I'm almost 25% of the way done with my book. And that's actually right on track. So even though I'm writing like maybe 400 words one day, and then like today I wrote 2,600, I'm still progressing. Like I'm tracking my progress through this draft and it's still going pretty well. So I just wanted to throw that disclaimer in there because I know you might think, well, you wrote 2,600 words today and yesterday you only wrote 400. It's subjective for this draft just because of the way I'm approaching it. I'm not sitting down and rewriting something from scratch. I have been doing so much rearranging over the last few chapters. It's been mind-boggling. Luckily, in the chapter I am now, I'm past that point. Yes, I did end up merging chapters 9 and 10, and there's a little bit of back and forth there, but before that, I was merging like 3 or 4 chapters at once. It was crazy. I am really happy that I'm done with chapter 9. Tomorrow, I am going to be doing my second pass on chapter 9, so I will be rereading it, looking for any grammar errors, making sure I said everything I want to say, that kind of thing. And hopefully I can make it to chapter 10 tomorrow. I tend to do my second pass a lot more quickly than my first pass. So I'm hopeful that I will finish that tomorrow and then I can move on to chapter 10. I would really like to move into the next chapter on this vlog. So hopefully that will be the case and we'll find out what happens tomorrow. Lunchtime check-in. I had another really nice morning. I tend to be really productive in the mornings, and I know that. I did what I said I wasn't going to do, and I deleted the first part of chapter 9. I started my revision/reread of chapter 9 this morning, and as soon as I started reading it, I realized that basically the first part of chapter 9 and the last part of chapter 9 are the same thing. In the first part of chapter 9, an event happened, and then in the second part of chapter 9, another character is explaining the event to another character. And I just realized immediately when I was reading it, I was like, this is so repetitive. Basically, I'm repeating the same thing in the story. And I kept reading through just to make sure, and I kept hitting all the same points. And I was like, yep, this character says that later on when they're telling the other character what happened. And I was just like, it makes sense to delete it. So I deleted that part of chapter 9, and that was about 1,000 words. So now my chapter is 1,000 words shorter. It's in line with some of my longer chapters. It still is a little long, but overall, I'm a lot more happier with chapter 9, and deleting that feels like the right thing to do. I can always add it back later if I feel like I need to, because it is in draft 2. So I have that text in there in the general idea, but I don't think that's gonna happen. It's time for me to get back on track. I'm gonna write for a little bit this afternoon. I have chores to do, so I'm gonna mix it in with reviewing and rewriting chapter 9, and we'll see how far I get tonight. And I will check back in with you tonight and let you know how my cozy weekend of writing has gone. The evening is done, and I had a pretty productive day, although in a minute it's not gonna sound like it. I finished reading chapter 9 and revising it on my second pass, and I am now into chapter 10. And I feel like that's such an accomplishment to get off of this one chapter that I have been working on for days. So the funny part is my total word count for today is 31. 31 words. That sounds terrible, but let me explain. First of all, if you remember, earlier this morning, I deleted the first part of chapter 9, and that was about 1,000 words gone. And I've also been, even in chapter 10, I deleted a bit of chapter 10. And what I've noticed actually while doing this whole exercise over the course of weeks is that my word count has slowly been decreasing over time. I started this book, I can't remember exactly, but it was around 103,000 words. And today it's sitting at 99,000. So I've lost about 4,000 words so far from chapter 1 to chapter 10. And oddly enough, I'm not very worried about this because one of my goals for this draft is to add more things in. Yes, I'm deleting, but the places where I'm adding are still later in the book. This area, this chapters 5 through 10, was something that I needed to condense anyway in terms of the plot. And there's another section, I don't remember the chapters, but probably 3 or 4 chapters from now where I have quite a few chapters for one event, and that's gonna get condensed. And it's condensing only to make room for more things. So even though it sounds like I'm losing lots of words in my book, I am right now, but it's temporary and I will be gaining a lot more later. I had a wonderful, lovely weekend writing this weekend. Not only was my writing really great, I'm really happy with the product I put out, but I managed to keep myself relatively warm throughout the whole weekend. Though it is a little bit chilly in my apartment, it did not get as cold as I anticipated, and then I think all of the warm things that I had really helped. My blanket, all the warm foods that I made really helped keep me from freezing. We'll see how winter goes because this is only fall, but hopefully I've got some things figured out that will keep me cozy all winter long. I'm hoping I can keep this momentum going and continuing my really good work on draft 3, and I will see you in the next writing vlog.